Discover the fascinating world of Susanna Hoffs and the group the Bangles, a story that goes beyond the platonic love she was for thousands of people in the 80s. Besides her captivating beauty, she possessed an incredible talent that brought to life some of the most memorable classics in music. Explore the reason behind recording their most iconic song completely naked, the band's need to change their name, the origin of their most acclaimed hits, and the reason the group disbanded. This fascinating account is filled with secrets and details that will keep you engaged from start to finish. Before delving into this compelling story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like to support it. Also, share in the comments where you're watching from, we'd love to know. Susanna Lee Hoffs came into the world in Los Angeles, California, on January 17, 1959. She grew up in an environment where music was highly valued, as her mother worked in the film industry, and her father was a psychoanalyst. Her mother was a great music enthusiast and used to spend long hours listening to records with Susanna and her brothers, John and Jesse. This early exposure to music sparked Susanna's interest, leading her to start playing the guitar from a very young age, revealing a natural talent for the instrument. In 1976, after completing high school, Susanna began her studies in art history at the University of California. Simultaneously, she harbored the dream of becoming a professional dancer and also worked as her mother's assistant on various film productions. It was in this context that she made her screen debut in the film Stony Island, 1978. Music always held a fundamental place in her life. During her college years, she was a big fan of classic rock bands like Pink Floyd, The Who, and Led Zeppelin. However, at the age of 19, in 1978, two significant musical events completely changed the course of her life. The first event occurred on January 14, 1978, when she had the opportunity to attend the last concert of the Sex Pistols. A few months later, during another show, this time by Patti Smith, the young woman was deeply fascinated by the punk style she witnessed, which made her rethink her plans of becoming a professional dancer and inspired her to aspire to a musical career. Thus, the following year, in 1979, Susanna took the first steps in this new and exciting artistic direction. Susanna decided to start her first band in collaboration with her older brother, John, and one of his friends. Although the project was brief, it's worth noting that John's friend was none other than David Roback, who would later found the group Mazzy Star, achieving significant success. In 1980, Susanna was determined to form a new band and came up with the brilliant idea of creating a group composed exclusively of women, something unusual at the time dominated by male bands. To materialize this vision, Susanna placed an ad in the newspaper, to which bassist Annette responded. After a phone conversation with Susanna, Annette joined the project. Then, Susanna came across another ad in the newspaper looking for women for an all-female band. She then phoned the sisters Debbie and Vicky Peterson, who respectively played drums and guitar. After a lengthy conversation, Susanna and the Peterson sisters agreed to join forces and start a project together. This crucial phone call that brought the group members together happened on December 9, 1980. Susanna vividly recalls this date as it was the day after the tragic murder of John Lennon. After the four new friends came together, they started rehearsals in Susanna's garage, aiming to create a new and authentic sound. The first time they performed together was in 1981, adopting the name The Colors. Later on, they changed the group's name to The Bangs and began performing in bars and small venues in Los Angeles. The music they were producing at that time was a mix of rock with influences from 60s rhythms. In 1981, the group recorded their first single. Although the song didn't make it to the top charts, it caught the attention of the Faulty Products record label, which offered a contract for their first professional recordings. The friends were thrilled and started working on new songs, soon having some ready for release. However, they faced an obstacle when they discovered that a group from New Jersey had already trademarked the name The Bangs and was demanding payment to allow its use. Faced with this, they decided to change the name. They tried several options, but none were satisfactory until Dutch sound engineer Eric Bezer suggested combining the current name, The Bangs, with that of one of his favorite bands, The Angels. And thus, the definitive name was born. In 1982, they released an extended play with their first 5 songs. However, they didn't have initial success. It's worth noting that an extended play is considered too long to be a single and too short to be a full album. Generally, it contains 4 to 6 tracks and lasts less than 30 minutes. However, the standard is usually 5 tracks. A curiosity is that this format is more economical to produce than a full album, making it a popular choice for new artists. During this period, bassist Annette announced her departure from the group to join another band. Despite the challenges, Susanna didn't give up and, around 1983, the Bangles recruited a new bassist, Michael Steele, preparing to release their first official studio album titled All Over the Place, released on May 23, 1984. Although it didn't achieve commercial success, this album holds 3 notable curiosities. First, it generated enough interest for Cyndi Lauper to invite them to open for some of her shows. Additionally, it caught the attention of the renowned Prince, who offered one of his songs for the group's next album. Lastly, in the music video for the song Going Down to Liverpool, the famous actor Leonard Nimoy made a cameo, extraordinary for a band not yet so famous to have the collaboration of a great actor in their music video. The origin of this surprising collaboration dates back to a little-known fact. Susanna lived in the same neighborhood as Leonard Nimoy, and their families maintained a friendship. She even attended kindergarten with his children, and his appearance in the music video was a gesture of mutual support and friendship. Fascinating information, isn't it? So, the girls devoted themselves intensely to work on their second album, a process that lasted for almost a year. During the summer and fall of 1985, they put the finishing touches on the work, which was released on the market on January 2, 1986, under the title A Different Light. This time, all the effort paid off, and the album was a resounding success. The first single released was the song Manic Monday, written by Prince, which became the band's first major hit, reaching number 2 on the Billboard chart. Moreover, this album generated 4 more highly successful singles: Walking Down Your Street, Following, and the extremely popular Walk Like an Egyptian. The latter stood out as the most successful track of the album, reaching the top of the Billboard chart on December 20, 1986, and hitting the top 10 in countries like Germany, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland, and Australia. The story behind the song Walk Like an Egyptian is intriguing because it was not written by a band member, but by a collaborator named Liam Sternberg. He shared that the inspiration for the song came while crossing the English Channel on a ferry boat. During the crossing, the boat encountered strong waves, swaying vigorously for a few minutes and forcing the passengers to walk cautiously, moving their arms awkwardly to maintain balance. The amusing scene of clumsy and uncoordinated movements, observed by Sternberg during the channel crossing, evoked in his mind the images of human figures depicted on the ancient walls of Egyptian temples. Impacted by this association, he immediately made some detailed notes in his notebook, capturing the essence of those peculiar movements. Later that same night, he skillfully transformed those ideas into a musical composition, giving rise to the lyrics of the famous song Walk Like an Egyptian. The success of the girls was tremendous. They became an exclusively female band of enormous success, with their songs dominating the music charts. Overnight, they achieved dazzling fame, admired both for their musical talent and their stunning beauty. Although all the members were beautiful, Susanna stood out and received more attention, sometimes causing discomfort and minor disagreements among them during interviews. As is common in any band, differences of opinion arose. After the release of their second album, drummer Debbie Peterson was uncomfortable for not having a vocal part in Walk Like an Egyptian, while all the other members had a verse to sing. Additionally, she lamented that instead of using her drums, the producers opted for an electronic drum machine for percussion, further reducing her participation to some choruses. Debbie's frustration was such that she considered leaving the band. However, after a meeting among the girls to resolve their differences, they decided to reconcile and began working on the third album, released in 1987. Although all 4 members played essential roles in the band, Susanna seemed to stand out from the rest. Her shorter stature compared to the other members often placed her at the front in group photos, giving her a status as the band's leader. This visual prominence contributed to her perception as the central figure of the group. Taking advantage of the attention Susanna was receiving, she starred in a fun comedy called The All-Nighter in 1987. The film was directed by her mother, and although it wasn't well received by critics, Susanna always stated that she loved the experience of being part of the production. Additionally, The All-Nighter played a significant role in elevating Susanna to celebrity status outside of the band, expanding her fame far beyond the music world. This film, despite not receiving good reviews, allowed her to stand out as a public figure independently of the band. Susanna already had a dedicated fan club, and these fans had even more reasons to appreciate her thanks to the film. The All-Nighter presented the beautiful and charismatic singer in a way that enchanted many viewers, revealing a new facet of her talent and charm. Her presence in cinema allowed fans to see her from a new perspective, further intensifying the fascination with her personality and talent. Despite the negative reviews, The All-Nighter had a positive impact on Susanna's career. The film helped solidify her status as a pop icon and celebrity, demonstrating that her popularity extended beyond music and reached other areas of entertainment. The experience in cinema contributed to consolidating her public image and further expanding her fan base, strengthening her position in the artistic scene. In October 1988, the band released their third album titled Everything. Like its predecessor, this album was a major commercial success, propelled by songs like In Your Room, Be With You, Eternal Flame, and other global hits. The album's reception was extremely positive, further cementing the band's popularity. Undoubtedly, the highlight of this work was the beautiful ballad Eternal Flame. This song reached the top of the US Billboard chart on April 1, 1989, and also reached number 1 in several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Sweden, and Ireland. It became a true global phenomenon, making its mark on music charts around the globe. The year 1989 was an exceptional period for music, bringing numerous successes that are etched in people's memories. How about you? Where were you in 1989? Leave your comment below and also tell us which country you're watching us from. We'd love to hear more about your experiences and musical memories from this incredible year. Eternal Flame was written by Susanna in collaboration with renowned songwriters Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly. These songwriters had already created major hits like True Colors, for Cyndi Lauper, and Like a Virgin for Madonna. During a recording session, Susanna told Billy about a visit the band members made to Graceland in Memphis. There, they saw a flame that supposedly never went out at Elvis Presley's tomb, the so-called Eternal Flame. However, on that rainy day, the flame was extinguished. Upon hearing this story, Billy Steinberg remembered his own childhood experiences when his parents took him to a synagogue where there was always a burning red flame. He was impressed by the idea that the fire never went out. Billy suggested to Susanna that this would be an excellent metaphor for a song. Together, they sat down to compose the lyrics, and in a few hours, the song was ready, resulting in a super classic. One of the most interesting and peculiar stories about the album recording involves the recording of Eternal Flame. The producer of the record revealed to Susanna that he had produced an album for the famous singer Olivia Newton-John. He mentioned that Olivia had a peculiar secret to enhance her recordings. She recorded completely naked in the studio. Susanna initially didn't believe the story, but after reflecting, she thought it could be true. She imagined that the experience could be similar to swimming naked, a combination of vulnerability and freedom that could add an extra emotion to the songs. Determined to try it out, Susanna recorded Eternal Flame at the Sunset Sound Studios in Los Angeles completely naked. The result of the recording was extraordinary, surprising everyone with its quality. Everyone involved was very pleased with the work, and there was a strong suspicion that the song would become a huge success. After this peculiar session, the producer revealed to Susanna that the whole story about Olivia Newton-John had been made up, just a joke. Although initially a little upset by the revelation, Susanna was so impressed with the result of the recording that she decided to continue recording most of the songs on the album the same way. She was superstitious and feared that if she changed the formula, the next songs wouldn't have the same success. Despite the success of their albums, the relationship between the band members was becoming increasingly complicated and filled with disagreements. There was a lot of stress among the band members, and since each played different instruments and had their own musical preferences, they were not always satisfied with the space they received on each record. For example, in their big hit Eternal Flame, only Susanna sings. Because of this, although the band was pleased with the song and knew it would be a success, they were left with a bitter taste. On June 10, 1989, Debbie Peterson married the band's sound engineer. However, neither Susanna nor Michael Steele attended the wedding, which evidenced the strain in their friendships at that time. A big part of the problem was that, although all the girls wrote and sang, the songs performed by Susanna had more commercial success, and most of the audience saw her as the lead vocalist and the favorite of photographers. This situation caused discomfort and resentment among the other members, who felt that their contributions were not receiving the same recognition. Debbie Peterson believed that Susanna overly explored her sexy or sexual side and didn't dedicate herself to music as much as she should have, something Susanna vehemently denied. The fact that Susanna earned a bit more money for being the songwriter of several of the band's big hits also generated some dissatisfaction. However, in the end, what truly precipitated the separation, according to Susanna, was overall fatigue. They were tired of each other and didn't display the same happiness anymore. After the release of the third album in September 1989, the decision to split was made. One of the most iconic bands of the 80s comes to an end. After this, Susanna decided to embark on a solo career journey. While her solo project wasn't launched yet, in a curious turn of events, in the early 90s, Susanna joined comedian Mike Myers and musician Matthew Sweet to create the band Ming T. Inspired by British bands of the 60s, the trio came together after Myers left Saturday Night Live in the early 1990s. With Myers developing the character Austin Powers and Susanna taking a break from her solo career, they informally got together to play, adopting pseudonyms for the band. Ming T began performing live at nightclubs in Los Angeles until Susanna released her solo album in 1991, titled When You're a Boy. Despite achieving some success, especially with the song Ja My Side of the Bed, the album also included a cover of Ja Boys Keep Swinging, written by David Bowie and Brian Eno in 1979. However, the album was not well received by critics and had sales below expectations. In 1993, Susanna married film director Jay Roach. 2 years later, in 1995, Susanna had her first child, Jackson. In 1998, 3 years after Jackson's birth, Susanna gave birth to her second child, Sam. During this period, in 1996, she released her second solo album, which bore her own name, Susana Hoffs. This album achieved some success, particularly with the track All I Want. In 1997, comedian Myers' wife played a crucial role in encouraging him to write a film centered on his Austin Powers character. This led to the creation of the film Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, directed by Susanna's husband at the time. Once again, Susanna was invited to reunite with the Ming T Band, this time to participate in the soundtrack and also act in all 3 Austin Powers films. She recorded the songs A BBC and Ya Daddy Wasn't There for 2 of the soundtrack albums of these films. The following year, in 1998, Susanna had a significant reunion with her former bandmates. This shows how her musical career and involvement in the entertainment industry continued to evolve over the years. They met for a meal, caught up on each other's lives, resolved their differences, and ultimately decided to start recording together again. This reunion resulted in the release of the group's 4th album in 2003 and their 5th album in 2011. Although these albums didn't reach the same level of success as the band enjoyed in its first phase, they marked a new and important chapter in Susanna and her bandmates' musical careers. Currently, at 65 years old, Susanna remains active in a variety of projects, continuing to participate in TV shows and events where she's invited to perform her big hits from the 80s. Her ability to preserve her beauty over the years is often praised, as if she possessed an eternal flame. This brief narrative covered Susanna Hoffs' journey and her contribution to the Bangles band. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share where you're watching from. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you and see you in the next content.